Hey there everyone, Lone Wolf 360 here, back again with another videos right after the holidays, and well, I'm about to yap about Sonic 3. So when it comes to the Sonic movies in general, I feel like these have been a bit of a journey, all things considered. Because while a lot of people like to point towards things like that one initial reveal trailer, I think we need to go take a little bit of a trip, just a bit before that. Because when I first heard of the Sonic movies, all that we knew about them was the fact that Sonic was going to be friends with a cop, and the fact that this was like the only thing we knew about it with this one poster of Green Hill. And I want you to look at this thing with no prior context of the movies, or just try to remove the context of the Sonic movies in your head and try to get a genuine idea of expectations. So yeah, they were pretty low. So imagine everyone's surprise when they ended up getting the Sonic movie's initial trailer or initial teaser, and man, that was a moment in history. Like, I don't think you couldn't avoid Sonic at this time, even if you tried, because Sonic was so big due to how bad this initial design was, even before we got to see, just from the silhouette alone, that it was just crazy. And I think you guys all know the story. Everyone trashed it, and then Paramount decided to go remake the design, but of course the studio that did that ended up going bankrupt or something along the lines of that. And while people initially went to this movie to see about how bad it was initially due to the design, it ended up being a pretty alright movie, all things considered. And I'd say that the first Sonic movie, while it isn't necessarily the strongest and felt pretty light as an adaptation, did its job and was pretty safe for what it was. So then fast forward to the second movie. So fast forward to the sequel, and I think you could tell that they were actually cooking when it came to the marketing of this film. Not only because they were building up the hype of the first movie with the fact that, you know, they actually were introducing more things like different characters, but just look at this one poster and look at this one teaser when it comes to a certain character in the film compared to last time. Like, this has sauce in it. Like, this feels like they're actually trying to be a video game movie, and Sonic 2 actually feels like it actually improves a lot compared to the first one, not only by introducing more characters like Tails and Knuckles, but by also introducing things like lore and actually trying to adapt things from the games, but recontextualizing them in a way to where it makes sense from the movie. And while I think that the movie is mostly solid for the most part, there kind of comes the issue of it being pretty short and that one side plot which everyone has talked to death about. Like, I don't even really think that the whole wedding side plot is necessarily the worst thing in the world, but I kind of feel like when these movies are like 1 hour long, it kind of derails the plot, all things considered. That and some of the jokes just kind of feel like they don't land, like when Tails is done explaining the whole thing when it comes to the whole lore surrounding the whole owls versus echidnas thing, only for Sonic just to make the weirdest joke that just does not make sense, especially knowing that he did know one of these owl people at some point, which is just odd to say to the very least. But I do think that the third act does make up for it, and I do feel like it's overall a very solid movie and a big improvement over the second one, which now leads up to the big one, which is Sonic 3. So, when it comes to Sonic 3, I think compared to the last two that it definitely feels like the best one out of all of them. Because is it perfect? No. But does it feel like it improves a lot from 2 and probably takes some of the best aspects from 2 in some of the best ways possible? Yes. I say that's very much the case, because if we were going to talk about things like the characters, the lore, and also the fact that it comes to the overall package, I feel like it feels like the culmination of them really learning a lot from what was really good in 2, and then just applying that to the third one. Because, for example, when it comes to the characters, the dynamic between Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails is just so fucking good when it comes to this movie, and it's so good to the point where I kind of wish that it was something that was more present in the games, which is kind of crazy to say to the very least, because it should be vice versa in some capacity. Then there also comes the other characters, in which I have to say, I'm glad that everyone in this movie has something to do. Sure, there's some ones which I will criticize later, but we'll get around to them later. And there also comes Shadow, which I have to say, I think they did him a lot of justice in this movie. Like, the fact that they actually made him very emotive when it comes to his animations, just in general, is so good. Along with the fact that personality-wise, I really like the way about how they handled him. Because Because, well, sure, he is very justifiably pissed about everything that's going on. He doesn't just feel like an edgelord. This is a man that clearly just woke up and is still very much traumatized and taking his anger out on the world. And the fact that they still gave him very much a lot of room to do, along with a lot of opportunities for him to possibly appear in the sequel, is something which is fucking great. Along with the fact that when it comes to things like the human characters, that honestly, though there's still the corniness that kind of comes with them being in this film, I kind of feel like you just gotta accept the fact that these films are kind of campy, that they still add something when it comes to the plot. Rather if it be the Wachowskis or the fact that Maria in this film actually do a pretty good job at trying to, like, ground the world in some capacity when it comes to everything outside of the furry characters. Along with the fact that when it comes to the fact, like, I don't know, Eggman, Dr. Stone, and Gerald, that they all are pretty great as well. Though, if there's one criticism which I have in this movie, which I will get into a bit later, or just something which I wish that the film could have been better with in general, it's that I kind of wish that this film was longer. And no, that's just not the Sonic fan in me talking, but there's some aspects of this movie which I could have been better elaborated on. Because, like, for example, everyone knows Shadow's backstory. Like, I don't really feel like it takes rocket scientists to really, you know, explain, oh yeah, Shadow went through a traumatic event, was asleep for 50 years, wakes up, starts throwing hands, and then, you know, tries to take revenge on the world. But it's the reason for why they did that. Like, there was this one fan theory I remember watching when it came to Sonic 3, like, a few weeks or just like a week before it dropped, where it was like, oh yeah, Gun's being really manipulative as to why they want Sonic to help specifically and all that. And while sure, that is partially the case because we do see, you know, the Gun commander or the Olive Garden guy give a bit of an explanation as to why Shadow is the way he is. He leaves some details out which are rather vague, like, oh no, there was just insert thing that happened, so that's why we needed to go lock him out, and now he's back out, and now he's all angry. And then we get another perspective from Shadow's view, but at the same time, we're never really told a direct reason for why what happened even happened in the first place. Along with the fact that when it comes to Gerald as a character, while I find him to be pretty interesting considering the fact that he's actually, like, alive and well in this movie compared to just being dead, it's the fact that, you know, there's some moments, or like one moment where he kind of goes mask off, and it's kind of played off as a joke because it's like, angry old timer with his grandson and all that, but I kind of wish we got to see a bit more of that, of him having his mask kind of slip when it came to him having his own revenge arc, because, well, sure, he doesn't really take away Shadow's autonomy when it comes to this film like how he did in Sonic Adventure. There is very much him being very spiteful and angry at the world in general, which I kind of wish that we got to see more of. Well, that, and also Dr. Stone was just the GOAT in this movie. I liked his dynamic, and I kind of liked how he, in a way, was the reason about how Eggman saw the light, all things considered. But other than that, I have to say, this movie was fucking gold, and man, let me tell you, when you watch this thing, especially when it comes to the third arc, you're going to be in for a treat. And honestly, I don't know how the hell they're going to top this one with the fourth one, because with how things ended in this movie, I feel like you could really call it quits and have it be a day. But hey man, I think they cooked with this one. Sure, there's still some issues that could have been fixed if it was like a little bit longer or something, but overall, I think it was a pretty great package. I'll see you guys in another video, or matter of fact, before I end this video off, so when it came to 2024, I feel like there's no denying that this definitely was not my year. Because was there some things that I was able to do that were cool, like be better at arts? Yes, but then after some things which I'm just kind of disappointed in myself on when it came to my own sense of perfectionism or some personal stuff which happened. Also, yes, it's kind of complicated when it comes to trying to summarize it all in like a last minute attempt, but you know, all I'm going to say is that perfectionism is such a pain in the ass, and I'm really glad for all my friends and my fans which have stuck around for all this time. So, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Catch y'all next time, and well, have a happy holiday and new year, and well, see y'all later, folks. Bye!